Amanda Hall Psychic Mini Workshop Series here on Facebook Live every Wednesday afternoon at noon here in Australia on the Gold Coast. Welcome to everybody. It's a great show we're going to have lined up for you today. We're up to episode number 33. Isn't that amazing how quickly the year is flying and the workshops that we've all been sharing with each other? I'd like to welcome everybody here. So let's get some T's and C's out of the road. First and foremost, welcome to everybody, wherever you're tuning in from around the world. I would really appreciate it if you would say hi in the comments box and where you're from, and maybe sort of, how you're feeling, how life's treating you at the moment. And today we're going to be working with the sun in Libra. So for those of you that regularly watch the show, just tune out for a little minute while we do the T's and C's. This is not a workshop where I perform free readings. This is a teaching series where I want to help you work with the energy that we choose for the workshop for the week, but also to work with the energy of candles. Whether you use my soy candles or whether you have candles of your own in the drawer or the cupboard, whatever it may be, it's more about learning to work with the energy of a candle. I do not perform free readings in this teaching workshop. What I like to do is focus on the energy of the subject that we're working with for the week. And this week it's the sun in Libra. And I like to focus on that because that's the important thing, is to understand more about the people in the world around us and how we can all mesh together better. For those of you that might want the opportunity to have a free reading with me, I don't do many of them these days, but I do have a show out of the Washington District on a Wednesday at high noon here in Australia on Eastern Standard Time, not Daylight Saving Time, on A1R Psychic Radio on Moonstruck TV. So you're more than welcome to put your name down there next week. They have a radio/television show that runs 3 nights of the week, Tuesday through to Thursday night out of the US. For those in Australia, it's Wednesday through to Friday. And they have shows running for 4 hours a night with some of the world's best healers, psychics, tarot readers, mediums, you name it. It's an amazing opportunity. So you will see in my blurb there, if you want to catch up on past shows, I do have a Facebook page set up for workshops and shows that you can go back and watch previous episodes. This episode will be uploaded there in the next 48 hours. So it's always lovely to sort of welcome everybody back that's been with us week after week, and also a big welcome and a hello to those of you that may be new to this format, that you've just tripped across it by accident. My name's Amanda Hall Psychic. I'm here on the Gold Coast in Australia. I've been in the industry over 40 years, so I have a little tiny bit of experience that I'm able to share with you on the psychic front. I've been given a number of industry awards over the years, including the Psychic Hall of Fame, and been voted for the 4th year in the row as Psychic of the Year here in Australia, voted by the public, not my peers. So thank you for everybody that voted for me. So let's get the show on the road. Why are we working with the sun in Libra? Well, what we've been doing since I started this workshop series is working our way around the zodiac, looking at when the sun is in the actual sign for the month, also working with the new moon and the full moon in that calendar month. And then in between that, we fill it in with other workshops on other subjects that I feel that relate to the psychic industry, that relate to things, issues and situations in our lives that we all need to work on as individuals. And that can be anything from healing to forgiveness, to dreams, to love, money, wealth, good luck, lots of different subjects that we talk about. So for those of you that are familiar, I designed a soy candle range a couple of years ago now, 2 or 3 years ago now, where I engaged a local artisan candle maker to design a candle for me initially to complement my Simply Tarot kit, because I was always suggesting to people, that you should always have a candle burning and burn some incense or whatever that is to create the ambiance and the protection and a point of focus when you do your little meditation before and your clearing before you start working on a psychic level. And then after we'd created the tarot candle, I thought then, well, that'd be nice to have some astrology candles. So we then went on to design 4 astrology candles, and we're going to be working with one of those today, that I split them into the elements, the fire, earth, air and water, so that then any air sign could just buy the air sign candle. Any fire sign could do the same, and the same with water and earth, so that it made it a little bit easier. And then after that, it was sort of like, I thought, oh, well, wouldn't it be nice to have a candle for protection? And everybody's always wanting to increase their money, so we designed a wealth candle. And then I thought, well, everybody wants to know about love, so we added those next 3 candles. And then after that, It was just sort of like it grew. It grew really, really quickly. And within probably a space of 6 or 8 weeks, we had 26 candles in the range. And we added another one when I brought out a new tarot project called Secrets of Tarot. We added a Secrets of Tarot candle. So, hence giving us the 27 in the range. Everybody keeps saying to me, am I going to add any more? And I think, well, I've got enough to work with now. I don't think that there's really anything that we haven't covered in our very wide cross section of candles. There's something there for everyone. So let's kick the workshop off with what is the sun in Libra? Well, the sun is where the sun sits in the astrological calendar for that particular energy. Now, it doesn't follow the calendar month from the 1st to the 30th or the slash 31st. It goes from as early as the 16th of the month and as late as the 26th of the following month. Now, if we would average it out, it's usually somewhere around the 20, 21st, 22nd. Now, it can change because of the earth wobble, and sometimes the sun moves a little bit faster than it does in other times, but this is why we get the discrepancy in it doesn't go in exactly the same time every year. And I have probably the most major question I get asked is, oh, Amanda, I'm on the cusp. Now, I want to clear this up with everybody. There is no such thing as being on the cusp. If you were to take a brand new pie and I asked you to cut it into 12 pieces, would that give us only 12 pieces of the pie? And I hear you say, well, don't be so stupid, Amanda. Of course it would only give me 12 pieces. Well, when you cut a piece of pie, that is like one sun sign. So you can't be this piece of pie and then part of that piece of pie over there that we've crossed them over together, that we've got two pieces of joined into one. No, because it's already got a cut line through it. That's what a cusp line is the cut line of the pie. So what happens is, because people can't sort of definitively say on the 22nd of each month the sun moves from one energy to the other, because it moves in as early as the 16th and as late as the 26th, that's why people says, oh, I must be on the cusp. So they really don't know what they're talking about. You're either one sign or the other. Now, there's many free astrology programs out there where you should be able to type in your date of birth, and it should be able to tell you that your birthday, say, is the sun in Virgo or the sun in Libra. I'm not on the cusp of Virgo's Libra. You're either Virgo or you're Libra. You can't be both. So, and I mean, yes, astrologers will do that for you, but they will charge to do that. It should only take them a couple of minutes, but they will charge a fee to do that, because you've got to appreciate their time is valuable too. And just doing that one little thing for you, that you're just one person, but when you multiply that by 2,000 people, that's 2,000 lots of minutes that have gone out of your day of, where you could have been doing something else to produce an income. So that's the reasons why they charge for that. So the sun in Libra. So the sun is on a flat wheel, is the 7th sign of the zodiac. So the sun is a cardinal sign, which means it's one of the 4 points of the compass. It also can be seen as a sign that sort of projects themselves forward. And it has to be that any cardinal sign must be seen as being important, or in their own mind as being important, a tiny bit selfish or a self-assertive or self-absorbed. That's the reasons why they're a cardinal sign. The Librian sign, or Libra, is an air sign. So it means that communication, thinking, bringing up new ideas, trying new things out is all very important to it, because it's anything that's connected with any form of communication, whether we think of that as being an SMS, a phone call, a video chat, whatever we look at as communication. It is also the sign of the scales. Now, the scales are sort of seen to be sort of like a set of scales that we might see in a high court. It's that sort of symbol. And people say, well, why is it the set of scales? Is it Libra is constantly out of balance? No, they're not constantly out of balance. What they're doing is they're assessing the whole time, trying to bring everything into a balance so they can balance their scales. But in the midst of all that, what they are actually doing is seeking the truth. So Libra will probe, investigate, ask questions, not give an opinion, but go, okay, right, I've seen that point of view. Now you want to speak, and you want to speak, and you want to speak. And all the time they're gathering all this information, all this knowledge, all the communication, and they're weighing it up. Well, I don't believe that's quite true. We'll put that over there. We'll keep that bit and put this over here. And eventually they come to a decision on what is the truth and what isn't. And that's then when they're seen to found the balance. So it's not surprising that a lot of High Court judges are born under the sign of Libra. That ability to be able to sift through the information and intuitively, I suppose, know what's right and what's wrong and what's truth and what's fiction when somebody's telling the truth and somebody's lying to you, or is there a blend of both in there somewhere, and in the midst of that somewhere we'll find the truth. So they have that uncanny ability to be able to do that, but to also have sort of almost like a poker look on their face where they give away no information about how they're thinking or which way their decision's going to be. So the sun sign of Libra is very, very important because we need to be able to get to the truth in the bottom of situations that are going on in our lives. It's a very important time of the year. So when you think of things like, okay, there's, we'll use politics as an example, and it doesn't matter where you are in the world, politics seems to be running rampant at the moment where nobody seems to be able to tell the truth other than there and all go in there and behave like children in a playground and all throwing rocks at each other and nasty comments and whatever. And they call this, we're getting down to policy. Well, they yell and scream and jump up and down and see who can shout the loudest and who can throw the most mud at each other. And then, hopefully underneath all that, we're all supposed to think they're amazing people and think that it's money well invested in politics. I haven't found anything that I've looked at around the world at the moment where you'd say you'd be proud to be part of that country and the way their political arena is unfolding, because they're all behaving like children. So one would sort of hope with this Librian energy that maybe finally we're going to start to get to some truth. We're going to start to get some balance in some of this stuff. Yes, there will be a lot of things that will come out into the media, and not just because it's the Sun in Libra time of the year, but if I can deviate a little bit and bring this into the equation as well, we've had the planet of transformation, Pluto, which has been sitting in Capricorn now for a number of years, and he still has about another 5.5, 6 years to go of a very, very long transit in Capricorn. But Pluto is the planet of transformation, delving underneath the surface, getting to the bottom of everything. It's death and transformation. So he's got to bring the decay, the smelly stuff to the surface first, to decay it, to remove it before we can have the transformation. Well, the reasons why I'm talking about Pluto is Pluto has just spent the last 5 months going retrograde or backwards, in a backwards motion in the universe, that he's now decided to turn direct, and we are going to see an awful lot of truth, I believe, come out in the next month or so. And because it's in the sign of Capricorn, and that rules government, big business, anything that's official in our lives, not so much on a personal level, that this is where we're going to see this political arena sort of really ramp up, and we're going to see a lot of things coming out into the open that we hadn't seen before, and skeletons that may go way, way, way back, might be 30, 40, 50 years ago, are all going to come to the surface now. And things are going to become very important that we as a collective, as a nation and as a world, need to sit up and take notice and ask, why, how did these people get away with this for so long, and what can we do to improve this and make sure that this never happens again moving forward? On a very personal level, it's the time when all of a sudden we personally as individuals might feel like, I'm going to burst if I don't say what's been on my mind. It's sort of like all of a sudden the damn walls have given way and the water can flow freely, and it's just like, I want to get it out there in one almighty gush. That's great. But let's find a way that we deliver the message to the other person with that tricky conversation we need to have in a positive sort of way. Don't just sort of run all over them with this great gush of water and they're sort of thinking, where'd that come from? Let's find a diplomatic or a Librian way to deliver it, so that we're delivering it in such a way that it's non-threatening, but we're being truthful, and we're saying, well, hey, look, I didn't know how to bring this up before because of da, 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 but I feel we really do need to sit down and talk about it. I know it's probably going to distress you and upset you, and that's not my intention, but I really do feel for our relationship or our marriage or whatever it might be to move forward and progress and grow, we really do need to address this. And I'd like your input on how you think maybe we can approach this differently. Have you even thought about this? So there's lots of different ways to approach it in a more Librian sort of way, where we're sort of being very arbitrary in the way that we deliver the message, instead of coming in there full throttle and sort of running over them like with the rolling steamroller and rolling them out flat. Let's do it in a gentle, careful way. Also, the other thing about the Librian energy is it's a time of the year where I think we can all catch our breath. It's a time of the year where we can do something nice for ourselves. I always sort of think of when the sun goes into Libra, it's like, oh, wow, we can all exhale, we can all catch our breath, we can all do something nice for ourselves. Whether that might be a nice walk on the beach, a picnic in the park, just spending some time outdoors. If you're here in the Southern Hemisphere, where we're in the springtime time of the year where we all sort of want to get out and picnic and start doing the outdoor life a bit more after the long cold winter. Yes, even here on the Gold Coast, we have a few cold days that I whinge and grumble about it being colder than what it is because I just don't like the cold. But, you know, it's a time of the year where we get more lively here in the Southern Hemisphere. For those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, it's where you're sort of still out having an active life because it's your fall, it's your autumn time where you're out enjoying nature and looking at the changes of the trees and the season and gathering of the produce and getting ready for your long, cold winter months ahead. And the holiday season's obviously too looming up fairly quickly too. So it's a time where it's sort of, you know, we can take that little bit of time to enjoy nature, I feel. And it's also a time that we should do something kind for ourselves, whether that be a little spa treatment day or whether it's, you know, do a home spa treatment. You know, put your favourite music on the turntable, light a candle and just sit back and enjoy, absorb what's going on in your life. You know, like, I mean, I think we all need to be kind to each other before we get into towards the end of this month, which really signals to me the start of the holiday season as we head towards Halloween and things like that. That to me, Halloween always signals the start of the holiday season. And here in Australia, we're not big celebrators of that. We're getting more so that way. For us here in Australia, it usually signaled the start of the holiday season is the Melbourne Cup. The big horse race happens first Tuesday of the month in November, and after that it's full on into holiday seasons, parties, but, you know, getting ready, getting the tree ready, you know, mad rush to the end of the year. So it's sort of like this is our little time where we can relax a little bit. So if we were going to work with our air sign candle, and this week I've got an air sign candle, which is the one that denotes for Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. This is my extra large candle. The extra large candle, you'll see when I tip the candle over, has 2 wicks. Now, I like to light 1 wick one day, the other wick the next day. That gives you a much, much longer burn time. Out of an extra large candle, they recommend you'll get up to, you know, 50 to 60 hours burn time. I like to think of if you burn alternate wicks, you can get up to 100 hours. So that makes it really, really economical to use. And it's something then that, you know, you get better value for money. Now, they are eco-friendly candles. They are made with natural soy. They are made with lead-free wicks. Yes, we've got a little bit of colouring in there. So yes, there's a tiny bit of chemical in there. And yes, they have a lovely fragrance. But each candle was designed for the colour, the fragrance, when they were thought of to enhance the energy that we're working with. And this time we're working with an air sign energy of the 3 air signs together. So there was a lot of thought and a lot of intent, purpose and direction is put into these candles, is infused into these candles as they're made. And they are made, as I said, locally on the Gold Coast by a lovely artesian little candle making business here. And we work extremely well together, the 4 of us. You know, designing these and putting the right intent there. And everybody is coming from a very spiritual bent. So they're not something that's mass produced in a factory. These are hand done, hand poured, and really important to know that because it's something that each one of these candles I have input into. Each and every one has some of my wisdom being infused into the candle as it's being produced. So bear that in mind. Now, working with a candle, we need to pop it on a coaster. Never put it directly on the furniture. So we're going to talk about our list in a little minute of how we work with the candle, but I just want to get this part out of the road first. Never leave a candle unattended, never leave it under curtains, under air conditioners or fans, near children and pets, because candles can have a way of having a mind of their own, if you want to put it that way. Look, over the years, I've done some foolish things with my candles too and left them unattended and come back and, you know, thought it was completely safe. I've had it inside a ceramic pot and there's no way in the world the thing could catch fire or do anything else. And then all of a sudden something, whether it's spirit or whether it's something that's just happened, you know, gust of winds come in and blown a piece of paper onto something, but you can't take that risk where you could catch the house on fire. I've even put them in the bathtub thinking that was safe and, you know, had a layer of water around them, and it's not safe. There's no safe way to burn a candle except babysit it. So for that reason, when we work with a candle, I suggest 15 minutes minimum, 2 hours maximum. Now, you're going to write your list in the following. If you're somebody that's a Libra, then I want you to look at writing your list at the things, 3 things that you might like to achieve in this coming 12 months. 3 things that you might be ready to let go of or release or are coming to a completion. Now, they can be anything. If you want a new relationship, put that down, but make sure you put some headlines about what you'd like in the new relationship. If you're looking to improve your finances, ask for ideas to help you improve your finances or manifest that new job or that new car or whatever it may be. For those of us that aren't Librians and we want to work with the Librian energy, now for some people it might be, I want to bring more peace and harmony into my life or into my working environment. That would be a perfect thing to put underneath your candle. Again, look, I like to work in threes. So if you can think of 3 things you'd like to attract towards yourself and 3 things that might be coming to a completion and a letting go of, that's great. But if you can only think of 1 thing that you want to attract in your life that fits in with the Librian energy, that's great too. It's a matter of being ready to read it out aloud before you light the candle, pop the note underneath the candle on your coaster, then light the candle and be with it, as I said, for the 15 minutes, making sure that when you go to extinguish your candle, you never blow them out, because you don't want to blow the pixies away, do you? You don't, our dear darling little friends, pixies get a little bit hurt if you blow them out of the road. Always use a candle snuffer or, you know, a little bit of water in an atomizer bottle. These lids that come with the candles are not designed, unless they have the knobbly glass lid, are not designed to be used to extinguish a candle. So if you don't want an extra large candle, but you want some smaller candles, you want something to take to work, something that you think that you can travel with, this week I've made up the travel pack or the gift box of 3 air sign candles. You can make it up with any 3 candles that you like from the range of our 27. These ones only have 1 wick in them and they will burn for approximately 15 hours. So yes, you can quite comfortably use the little knobbly lid in this case to be your candle snuffer. Just put the lid on the candle when you're finished, ready to extinguish it. Working in the same format, always putting it on a coaster before you put it on the table, never leave it unattended. They make great gifts. It's a perfect time of the year to sort of get your thinking cap on about how many little candles you might like to purchase in a gift box that you can split up and give away as gifts for the coming season. So for those of you that mightn't want to work with a candle or say to me, Amanda, look, I don't have the capabilities of being able to babysit it, what's the alternative? Well, here's the answer. A melt warmer. These are electric. They're called melt or wax warmers. You can pick them up at the supermarket here in Australia for around about the $15 mark, or you can find them in a department store, a novelty store, things like that. This particular one I've got, it's got a little button on the side that you can turn it off. I use these probably more than I do my candles because I work with whatever I'm working with for the week. I have that going in my dining room, but in my place of work, I have one set up just purely for protection, that I add a half a teaspoon of the wax each morning out of my candle. It's all that's needed. Into the melt warmer. I read my list out, pop it under the melt warmer, pop the melt warmer on a coaster, turn the power on, and then I can walk away and safely leave it going in my home environment or in your work environment, and you can leave it unattended because there's nothing there to catch fire. As long as you keep it out of the reach of children and pets, there's nothing wrong with this, and you'll still get the same effect of working with the flame. So that's an important thing to sort of remember. So, you know, it's really important because we do need to be working with the resources that we've got at our fingertips, and not everybody can afford to buy my candles. I appreciate that. But for those of you that might want to purchase a candle or another service from me, head to my website, www.amandahallpsychic.com.au. Don't forget, when you're there and you see the little pop-up window that says join our newsletter, fill the details in there because you'll qualify then for an absolutely free of charge astrology chart that will be emailed to you anywhere in the world. You're under no obligation to buy anything. That just keeps you up to date with, you know, latest things that are happening in my world and specials that we'll have during the year, purely for the people that are on our list, not anywhere else. But for those of you that might want to make a purchase, and you've been watching the workshop here with us today, when you get to the checkout, in the checkout box, type in the word in capital letters, Facebook. Now that will then give you a discount on anything that you purchase, whether it be a candle, a reading, a product, a course. It'll give you a discount there for being loyal to watching the show. So it's Facebook in capital letters, and that will automatically show you then the discount off the price that you'll get. If you're here in Australia, we do offer free postage on all our services. Unfortunately, we can't offer that for our overseas family. It's just too cost, it just costs too much money. It's just, we'd have to put the price of our products up that much that it wouldn't be fair to anybody. So what we do offer for our overseas family is a flat postage fee. So can I suggest, if you want a number of things, save up your pennies and do it all in one order, and then you get that flat fee over, it doesn't matter how much you buy. That's the best we've been able to offer everybody as far as our overseas family. So I hope that makes it a little bit easier for you. So what happens if you don't have one of my candles and you still want to work with the energy that we talk about each week here in the workshop? That's fine. It's not necessarily about me doing the hard sell on my candles. Yes, it's great if you want to purchase some, and if you don't, that's great too. What I want you to do is work with the resources that you already have. If you have a cupboard full of candles that you've been collecting even from the $2 shop, that's fine. As long as you feel that you can focus and put the energy into that candle. So say this is a brand new candle. You've got it out of the cupboard and you've never used it before, and you're going to work with it as being your candle that you want to infuse as an air sign candle. So, okay, you might want to put a little sticky label underneath it and say, this is my air sign candle, so you remember if you've got too many of the same color. So you close your eyes and you infuse in it, as you're thinking it and touching it and massaging it, the things that we've been talking about. Now, I suggest you do that for at least 5 minutes. A little bit longer would be good, so that you're putting that energy into the candle. No, you're not going to get as much intent, purpose, and direction as you would from one of mine, where we, the team, have already collectively put in a lot of extra energy and Reiki and all those sort of lovely things into the candle to enhance it. But this is your next best option. Now you've done that, you can go through the same procedures then and learn and work with the candle that way. If you haven't even got that and you say to me, oh, look, Amanda, the only thing I've got in my cupboard is a couple of household grade white candles that I keep in the box there for emergencies, blackouts. Look, that's fine. I've done that. There's been many times in my life where I didn't have enough money to even go and buy a cheap candle at the $2 shop. And I used to work with my household grade candles and use them and infuse and focus and concentrate and putting the energy into that. So that's another alternative that you've got as well. So I hope that you're enjoying what we're doing here on these weekly workshops. I do apologise again for anybody that thinks I'm being rude and ignoring them because I'm not giving a shout out as we're going through. I like to keep the presentation as seamless as possible. I want this to be an educational place where you can come back time after time, and each time you might go back and watch it, you might watch the episode today live and you might watch it again in 6 months' time. Oh, wow, I didn't see that the first time. Well, maybe you weren't meant to absorb that energy at that time. So, it's a learning curve. It's all a journey. The most important thing I've always taught all my students, all my working career has been this. If it feels right for you, then adopt it. If it doesn't feel right for you, then dismiss it. If you can work on that score, then you never take on board information or energy or things that are that don't suit you. It's always got to be about what feels right to you, not about what someone preaches to you and their beliefs and it's right for them. It may not always be right for you. If you can follow that little rule of thumb, you will find then that you'll absorb what you need, you'll discard what you don't need, and bearing in mind things that we might discard today because it doesn't feel right today may turn around in a few months' time or a few years' time, be completely the opposite, might be just the information we're looking for at that time and we feel right about it. That's called evolution and growth, and we all have different ways of looking at things as we mature and grow through our lives, and as we spiritually mature and grow too. Not everything stays the same. It'd be boring if it did. And I hope that you understand that by working with the energy that's here, that's now, and then what feels right now is what is right for now. And then, what's right in 2 weeks' time is right then too. So there's no hard and fast rules at what's right or what's wrong. I will endeavour to get back to everybody and tell them, pop a little private message up there on the board for you, not a private message, public message up there and wave to you and say hello or answer your question if you may have one, because this is a little family that we're gathering together week after week from all around the world. And it's something that I want you to sort of interact with each other. You may make some new friends out of this. But the most important thing is to be open and honest with yourself, be kind to yourself, because that's what it's about. It's a little bit of chill out time where you're learning a little bit and you're having some time to take some time for you, because we all need to replenish those emotional things in our body too. We need to have some me time. And sometimes that me time is just relaxing and watching a little video. I know that I find the most relaxing things in my life, besides working with candles, of course, is, music and being able to lose myself in video. I'm a very, very big fan of video, and I have an extensive DVD library, and that's my chill out zone. And it's amazing how many messages you get from watching things. Like I like to buy box sets of things and watch it from beginning to end, even though it might be something I watched 20 years ago. I still get enjoyment out of it today. And as I was just saying on my previous show, that I can't seem to get David Cassidy and the Partridge Family out of my DVD player at the moment. And that's been going on for months now. I might start watching something else, and then all of a sudden, oh no, they'll get the flick and I'll put the Partridge Family back in there. I just love the energy. And I think I must have had a past life connection with David Cassidy. I mean, the more I see of that man, the more I'm downloading messages and information and things. And I always had an immense respect for him. I think he's an amazing entertainer. I think the world lost somebody really special last year. And I think it's a great tragedy that he never found the things in life that I suppose that he was desperately seeking, but maybe that was his journey too. And being an Aries, maybe, he achieved such greatness, but, there was other pockets of his life that weren't so great for him personally, but that makes him human too. We all have those sections in our lives. So find what works for you. That's what I'm trying to share with you. Find what works for you and look at the things that give you sort of pleasure. I love music, and I love, constantly, searching things up on YouTube and things like that. And I'll have that playing in the background while I'm working. Music's always been a very integral part of my life. And I have many people that I really do enjoy listening to. But on my other show today, I featured Neil Diamond, and I sort of shared with everybody how many actual vinyl sets of that Hot August Night album and CDs that I've actually worn out. And it's one of those iconic sort of albums that I think everybody's heard at least once in their lifetime. And it's a very spiritual, moving event. And lots of music, lots of shows can do that for us. And me as a psychic, I find quite often I get messages most randomly when I'm watching something or listening to something. And I always attribute that to the truth being revealed when the sun is in Libra, even if it's at a different time of the year. But when I get that little pearl of wisdom, that little piece of truth, I think, aha, thank you, sun in Libra, because you're bringing me that in something that's random that I wouldn't have expected. That, I've sat down to watch a DVD to relax, and then in comes this answer to something that I've been thinking about or looking for. And I always give a little thank you to that. So on next week's show, we're going to be working with the new moon in Libra, and I really do have to go. I'm way past my time. I've got another work commitment. So until next week, bye for now.